Keith Tebow, welcoming you today as we continue our look at graduations for the 2021 year. And it's good to see that just about all of our local high schools and other institutions of higher learning are getting back to what used to be somewhat of a normal graduation season. And we've done a number of these previews already, and we're going to continue today. We're going to look at the graduation ceremonies happening at the Atlantis Charter School. I'm pleased to be joined by their executive director, Robert Beatty. Thank you for joining me, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Keith, for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I want to get into some issues in terms of, again, because we haven't spoken in a while in terms of, how the school has handled COVID as we come out of it somewhat. But I want to get right to graduation. Graduation is going to be on June 4th, a week from this Friday as we're recording this. So tell us how plans are going and what can people expect for graduation this year?
Sure. So we're excited to, offer as normal a graduation as we can, and with the state loosening a number of restrictions, in particular over the last couple of weeks, we think it'll be a really nice event for our kids. So we're having it outdoors, which we typically do every year anyway, or at least the last couple of years we've tried to have it outdoors, and with the loosening of restrictions again over the last few weeks, students will be able to be outdoors and guests without masks. As you know, the CDC and in our state, leaders in healthcare are suggesting that people that aren't vaccinated continue to mask, but that's their choice. It's not mandated, and also just encouraging folks to keep some separation when they're outside. But hopefully everyone will be able to enjoy some nice weather, be outside, be able to take the mask off, and have a nice graduation. Students will come up and cross the stage and receive their diploma. So we're looking forward to a really great day for the seniors.
Now, in terms of those family members, are there limits in terms of the number of people that graduates can invite? I know in some instances, like at Durfee High School, obviously a larger class, they can invite up to 4 members. Are there any restrictions in terms of the graduates there?
We do, and that's not necessarily specific to COVID precautions. Each year, there's a limited number of tickets that students can have for their family members, and so we're doing that again. And part of that is to obviously manage the total crowd size. But again, we would do that in most years. It's we have a limited amount of space and a section of our grounds that we use for graduation. But there will be a limit on the number of family members that students can bring. But again, that happens every year for us.
Right. Now, is the event going to be held on the beautiful football field you have there? So where on campus will it be held? I know you've got some great facilities there. I know you just opened up a baseball field as well. So where specifically is the event going to be happening?
Thank you. Yeah, so we've got it's actually the site of our future softball field,
Okay.
behind the bleachers for the soccer and football field. There's a big swatch of grass, and we set up a stage and chairs there. And the backdrop is the school, and the audience looks out towards the water. So it's a really nice venue for families, and the perfect site to fit the number of people that we're looking to have for graduation.
Yeah. So again, hopefully you'll have a beautiful day. I know the weather has been nice by and large so far this spring, and hopefully you'll have a great day for that. I want to get back in terms of how the school has handled COVID. I think the last time we spoke was probably just prior to school beginning for this year, when there was so much uncertainty. A number of students that were still remote. I believe you had a hybrid model, if that's correct, to start the year. Was that correct?
We started the year remote, and then we moved towards hybrid. We started bringing kids back, and then as we were bringing students back in, we hit that spike just after or between the holidays, I guess, Thanksgiving leading into Christmas, and that's when most schools shut down and went back to full remote. So it was tremendously disruptive. It was sort of all over the board, and we can't thank our staff and our families enough for their flexibility and their patience as we worked through that difficult time. But yeah, we started remote, moved into hybrid, and then we were back remote for a little while.
Yeah. And now obviously you're still, fairly back. Those who want to come back are able to come back, and you still have some students who are remote. Is that correct? Who chose that option?
Yes, it varies by grade level, and for varying, family reasons, student reasons. But we have invited all students back kindergarten through 12th grade. The spacing is still an issue for us, just the amount of space we have available for us. So right now we have two grade levels. Our ninth and 10th grade are using space in the former Cherry and Webb building downtown. And it was actually the site of our high school before we moved on to the new campus. And so that's obviously a temporary measure for us. But to enable us to invite all of our students back, we needed a little bit of auxiliary space to fit everybody.
Yeah. And plans are hopefully full bore in September, back to normal as best we can.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. So the school we're adding some classroom space on our existing campus, and so that even if there is a distancing requirement, or any requirements that require us to spread out a little bit, we'll be able to accommodate that on our new campus. So we're very excited about that and looking forward to that. Yeah, the plan is inviting everybody back full time, a regular school year, and we're gonna work hard to make sure that that's a reality for everybody. We're obviously in close touch with our the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and our peers at the state, but things are looking good, certainly in terms of vaccination rates in Massachusetts and the case rates coming down. And it certainly feels, I think, across our all of our lives, not just in school but elsewhere, that there are better days ahead, and that we're in pretty good shape now, and some good projections looking forward. So we're excited to start a regular school year come fall.
Yeah. I want to actually go back to graduation and the seniors. Last year a lot was made around the fact that the class of 2020, and I have a daughter who was in the class of 2020 high school last year. How they had a lot of things taken away from them because of COVID hitting when it hit, and there were some virtual graduations. Some were held a little later to be held in person. But for the class of 2021, in some ways, their graduation is going to be more traditional, but in other ways, they had a longer period of uncertainty and learning remotely and learning in non-traditional ways. How do you characterize, those students who, had this experience, and all of a sudden things got cut off and, sort of ended their career in so much uncertainty? How can you characterize those students and how they were able to persevere?
Yeah, I mean, first to the students themselves, just tremendous. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had a chance to connect with some of them, and their resilience. I've had kids come up to me excited about the colleges that they got into, and saying that they're excited to be back, but that they did fine while they had to be remote, and so that resilience among all kids, but certainly the kids that we work with day in and day out, is the thing that sticks out the most. And I think that in a crisis, you always look for the opportunity, and for the silver lining and those kinds of metaphors. And kids that were able to adapt to remote learning. In some cases, we even had kids in our career academy doing their internships remotely online with the businesses that they were connected with. And you just hope that sets them up well for the future. And whether that means hybrid work in the future, where you're home part of the time and in the business at the office for part of the time, or just the ease with which students work with technology now. If that improved among our kids, we hope that that's something that in this crisis they were forced into, but that serves them well in the future. That's not, all of that is not to take away from some really tragic circumstances. There are families that were impacted heavily by the coronavirus pandemic, or had other real difficulties over the course of the last year, and so we've worked hard with our social workers and school adjustment counselors to try to support them as best we can.
Yeah. I know in some ways, just all of us having to persevere through this will probably, for especially those high school seniors that are going into college, I think it'll probably, hopefully, influence them well, then because they're able to, look at challenges differently and be able to overcome them probably a little bit easier than under normal circumstances. So hopefully that'll be the case. Robert Beatty, the Executive Director of the Atlantis Charter School, thank you for joining us. We'll catch up again probably maybe just before school starts. I appreciate
Wonderful.
your time. All
Absolutely.
right,
Thank you so much.
have a great graduation.
Thank you, you
All
too.
right. And thank you for joining us here in FRC Media. I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great day.